Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason and this is the May Roundup. So, May is nearly over and it's been a very thought-provoking month for me, well, for a number of reasons, as we'll talk through in the course of this video. So, as April ended and we came into May, we came into the 80th anniversary of the sinking of the Hood and the Bismarck, and a lot of the channel's time has been taken up to that. And obviously, those of you that have been following those 80th anniversary videos know that my grandfather and his brother, my great uncle, were on ships directly involved in the Bismarck chase. My grandfather at the sinking of the Hood and my great uncle at the sinking of the Bismarck. So something I've lived and breathed all my life. Now, unfortunately, last year my grandfather at 101 passed away from the COVID virus. So in April I was in a bit of reflective mood, and then in May we were thinking quite a bit about the anniversary, which gave me more time to think about my grandfather and what he was doing, at 21. And later this month, actually a day after the 80th anniversary of the sinking of the Bismarck, we'll finally be able to get to bury my grandfather. So it's been quite a thought-provoking month. We've also been thinking about the channel and how that's been progressing. We've done a lot over the last 5 months of trying to find out what works for the channel, what works for me, what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with, how to edit videos, and there's been quite a learning curve for me. And it's been nice that people have been there on that journey, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So, in May, we did some really interesting first impressions videos. We did the Airfix Buccaneer, which is a mighty fine kit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Then we had the Austro-Hungarian ship Viribus Unitis. I think that's how you pronounce it. A very different looking ship, and lots of people commented on that and were interested to see that. So that's a very nice ship, which I'm looking forward to building. And then as part of the 80th anniversary of the Bismarck chase season that I've been doing, we looked at Airfix's 172 Swordfish, which for the gentleman's scale is quite a nice kit. A little bit rough around the edges, not the best kit, but should build up all right. And then we looked at the 1700 Flyhawk Prince of Wales kit. If you're new to the hobby, don't build it, because you'll go and take up gardening or something, I'd imagine. Joking aside, it's a very seriously detailed kit. It is, in my opinion, the best Prince of Wales kit on the market. So if they can go and do that at 350 scale, that'd be perfect. Thank you very much. And then we've also looked at the Prince Eugen. Actually, at the time I'm recording this, you haven't. By the time you're watching this, I think you will have done. What a mighty fine kit that is. One of Trumpeter's very best kits, and with all that photo etch I decided to buy, it will be something special when we build that. And again, we'll talk about builds in the future in a moment. So let's talk about what we've built during the course of May, shall we? So first of all, we finished the Model T. Now actually, I lost a little bit of video footage for that, so I had filmed assembling the lamps but at some point I've lost some footage somewhere. I'm not quite sure what's happened, but I lost some footage from the Model T, I've lost some footage from the Lysander, and I lost some footage from HMS Fly. It was all filmed around about the same time, so I'm not really sure what's gone on there, which is why in that build video it would have been actually two more videos, the Model T. So the plan had always been to do a video to finish off the car, which was the lamp. So we had headlamps, forward side lights, rear lamp, and do the final touches, and then do a separate video just on painting the figures. And it ended up mashing those together because I'd lost some footage, and by the time we'd edited out lots of 20 minutes of sanding this and that, we came to something that was about the right length, maybe slightly longer than I would have liked, but it rounded it up nicely. We got the Model T finished. I'm not sure that Mr. Ford would have liked the colours, but hey, it's my model, I'll do as I please. So yeah, I was quite pleased with that. And something a little bit different. I don't often do cars, and when I do a car, it's got to speak to me on some level. So I have a very small wish list for cars, and one that's still on my wish list is actually the Dukes of Hazzard Dodge. I'd love to build that at some point, but I don't have the kit. Another car that I would really love to build is a Hillman Imp. I'm not even sure that there is a model. I think Revell might have done one before I was born, but I've never seen one for sale anywhere. But my dad had an Hillman Imp when we were kids, and he put a sandpit in the back for us. So that would be a lovely memory lane build. And it had a German racing engine. It could seriously shift. Yeah, and that was back in the days when cars rotted, and my dad was patching all with beer cans and chicken wire, and he took all the dashboard light bulbs out because they all went red. So to stop them being red, he took the bulbs out and all that sort of stuff. So lots of fond memories. So that's another car I'd like to build at some point. Anyway, getting a little off topic, aren't we? We've also progressed the Lysander. There is, at time of recording this, there is another Lysander video imminently about to come out. We are changing what we do a little bit with the builds, but I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. And then we also launched Fly, and we did our first ever premiere video where the video went live and people could chat in the live chat with it, which was fairly successful. Lots of people enjoyed that. One or two people appeared to miss it or struggle with it. So if you've not been to done a premiere before, what will happen is I'll put the video up 2 or 3 days before it goes live, and it should appear, if you've subscribed to me and you've hit all notifications, it should appear in my list of videos as a premiere. So what you get is something that looks like a little dark grey TV screen with 3 dots in, and in the bottom right hand corner it'll say premiere. But if you click on that, you can select reminder, and then you'll get a message to your notifications telling you it's starting, and then you'll be able to then go into that, and then when you're in the video, underneath the video where the usual icons are, there'll be an additional one that says live chat. You click on that, and then on the right the chat pane will open up and you'll see the conversation. If you've missed the video and you're watching the video after the fact, if you press live chat, as you watch the video, the live chat that happened during the premiere will come up as the video plays in real time as it did. So if there's any specific questions at a specific point, you'll see that real time. So that's basically how it works. Again, at time of recording this, we're uploading the second Fly video. So during May, we'll have done 2 Fly videos. And then, of course, we started the HMS Anthony build. which will be a relatively quick build. In my mind, we are 3 or 4 videos max on that. The last video being doing the seascape, and I think originally I thought maybe 2 videos, but the build is a little bit more complex, so possibly 3 on the actual build of the model itself. Yeah, so we cracked on quite a bit with that. We haven't done anything further with Warspite or Arizona. We'll come back to that in June. So the other build that sort of happened was my 8-year-old daughter Alice revealed her Spitfire build, which she's been working on, I guess, about 3 months. So she does every other Sunday morning. She does a bit of modelling. It's a little bit of family time. She sits there. She can ask any advice. So it's not taken her too long to do that, but she really enjoys doing it, and she likes messing around with the airbrush and bits and pieces like that. And that was quite a popular video. Everyone likes to see someone young getting to grips with a hobby. My older daughter also does some modelling, but she prefers not to share it, whereas my younger daughter is quite eager to share it and was pressing me to do so. So she quite enjoyed that. She's going to be starting her car this Sunday, as it happens. When that's done, no doubt she'll want to share that as well. Keep your eyes out. Probably 2 or 3 months' time, we'll probably see that car video come along. So the other thing that we've been carrying on with through May has been the Focus on Tools videos, which are proving quite popular. We looked at the gyro cut, we looked at the music stand tweezers, the photo etch bending tool, and it's quite interesting to see some of the conversation that comes out of those tools. I think most people like me seem to have an overly large collection of tweezers, for example, but you know, you build your tools up as you go over time, and some of them you use all the time and some of you don't, and there's a lot of people coming back to the hobby or coming into the hobby for the first time at the moment, where we're seeing a real hiatus in the hobby, which is really nice to see. But as a result of that, there's a lot of companies jumping on that and trying to promote products for use in the hobby, some of which are brilliant, some of which are utter rubbish and a waste of money, and it's good to try and cut through that a little bit. So that's sort of what we're trying to do with the tools. We've done some more unusual tools, I guess, at the start of this series. We will be looking at some of the more mundane ones, and we'll be looking at some and saying, look, this is utter junk, don't buy it. So there's a lot more of that to do, because people are really enjoying them, and you know, got a lot of tools to review one way or another. So we won't just be looking at hand tools, we're looking at power tools and things like vices and clamps and all sorts of stuff as we go. So that leads me nicely on to June, and in June we're going to see some subtle changes to the channel, which I suppose are really born out of some subtle changes to my working routine. So far I've been working from home during lockdown, and I've only been in the office twice since March 2020. I work for a large FTSE 30 company, and they've decided that as people start coming back, which will start happening from June, that people are only required to work in the office 2.5 days a week. So that means 2.5 days a week I can still work from home or be on the road or whatever I need to be doing, which means that I will have more model time than I possibly anticipated. So my journey to work is an hour, so I lose 2 hours, could be 2.5 hours in the winter of travel time, which is time that I can use for doing this stuff. So that's the first change, and that's sort of a bit of good news, really, because it means I've got that time back. But because I'm going to be in work, I'm going to have a bit less time, and that is going to affect time on my hobby and therefore time on my channel. So my hobby ultimately is building models, and inevitably doing a YouTube channel eats into that time a little bit as well. And it's interesting as you watch modelling based YouTube channels, that those channels where the channel does what I'm doing here and I talk directly to you, every now and then you'll hear the presenter going, you know what, I'm wondering why I do this, is it worth it, it's a lot of hassle, blah blah blah. And I get it, I totally get it. So it's been really important to me from the start that this is like my hobby, it's fun. If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to do anything that's not fun, and I'm not going to do anything that is causing me to get in any way stressed or diverge from doing what I do, which ultimately is building models. Now, when it comes to videoing, when you're videoing your builds, you're doing those in sections. So you're videoing a bit, and then you've got to wait for the glue to dry, the paint to dry. So I might get another model out and video a bit of that. So you get lots and lots of shorts videos, which eventually, when I think there's enough material, we'll go and edit that together and make a video, and then we've got a video to upload. So that can take a bit of time, not just because it could be over several weeks that you've built up enough material to do something, but also you've then got the time of editing it. So if you've got a video that's an hour long, you can bet your bottom dollar that I've also cut out about the same amount again. And sometimes I leave the camera rolling, and sometimes I'm switching it off and switching it back on again. So it depends on how I've filmed it, how much editing time's involved, and so on. But it still takes time, and in that hour that I'm editing, I'm not modelling. But it still comes out of my free time, so if that makes sense. At the same time, the other videos, the first impressions videos and the focus on tools videos, they're quite different. I can sit down with those and we hit the start button, we talk, we film, it's done. There'll be a little bit of editing, but it's minimal, and so I can turn those videos around quite quickly. So what I've been thinking about, at the moment I've sort of been producing videos, chuck them up on YouTube, produce another video, chuck it up on YouTube, and there's been no sort of structure to that. So what I'm trying to do in June, or no, actually, what we are doing in June is we're adding some structure to that. And during the course of May, I've been trying to get ahead, which I've been able to do quite easily on first impressions videos and tool videos. And that's going to allow me more time to focus on actual build videos. So what's going to happen in June is we're going to start releasing videos on set days for set topics. So nice and easy for you guys, because you know what's coming and you can set calendars or whatever you want to do. But from my point of view, it becomes easier because what I'm now doing is recording the video, and rather than putting it up on YouTube and publishing it straight away, I'm now putting it up on YouTube and scheduling. So as we talk now, I've got all of this week in May, all the videos are loaded up and scheduled, and I'm halfway through next week. I've just got the build video to load up for next week. So this is how it's going to run. On a Monday, we will do a focus on tools video. So whilst we're running that season, we will we will do them every Monday, and they'll come out 8 a.m. UK time. So it's a set time, set day every week. On a Wednesday, we will do a first impressions video, and I've got enough first impressions material to be doing this for quite a while yet. So the season of first impressions videos will carry on and be on Wednesdays. My only exception to that is if I get a brand new tool release, I might do that instantly to get it out there quickly, so that anyone who's thinking about buying it can make a decision quite quickly while there's stock about. So, for example, the Airfix Vulcan that we've been waiting for what seems like forever. If that turns up during the course of making this video, then straight after I'll be making that first impressions video, and we'll load it straight up. So you may get the occasional video in and around those times, but Monday will be tools, Wednesday will be first impressions, Friday will, and the first impressions videos will also go up at 8 a.m. UK time. So I'm just going to schedule it at that time. My build videos will always go up on a Friday. So I'm going to do something slightly different with those videos. So build videos, we're going to do something slightly different. So Friday will be the day for build videos, and we will aim to release a build video every Friday. But rather than that coming out at 8 a.m, we're going to do that at 9:15 p.m. And the reason we're going to do that is twofold. Firstly, I'm going to be doing build videos that are released on a Friday as premieres, so they'll all have live chat. So I won't be doing live chat for just HMS Fly, I'll be doing it for any build video release. So Lysander, Warspite, whatever it is, when it gets released, it will be released, a full build video will be released on a Friday. It'll come out at 9:15 p.m, which seems like a relatively good time. It's early morning Australia, and so sort of evening, depending on whereabouts in the Americas you are. It's sort of early evening there. So it seems to capture the geography that watches my channel. So the other reason that we're doing it at 9:15 is because Steve from the Model Shed, his hood video finishes at 9, so it gives me 15 minutes to go to the loo and make a cup of tea. And I'm guessing everyone else is going to do the same. So we did one with Fly. It was really successful, and people hopped from one video to the other. So you can put that in your diary, and the next one will be Fly Build Part 2, which is loading up as we speak. It's a Tuesday, and that's being scheduled in for Friday, so you've got 3 or 4 days to find the premiere and put it in. But of course, I don't know when this video's gone out. So that's sort of the structure. Now, there will be additional videos that come out from time to time for various reasons, and we're going to talk about one of those definite videos that's going to come out. But that's the main structure. So you know that it's a tool video on a Monday, it's a first impression on a Wednesday, and it's a build on a Friday. I generally don't tend to release stuff at the weekends, and there is 2 reasons for that. Firstly, YouTube is very busy with new releases at the weekend, so I don't see that there's no void there to fill, whereas it's a bit quieter in the week. So putting videos out in the week seems to make sense from a point of view of new material to watch. But also at the weekend, I tend to do a lot of my modelling at the weekend, so that means I can do editing and other stuff in and around work, on my lunch breaks and that sort of stuff during the week. So that it's sort of, that's how it's worked out. So that's how it's going to continue. Now, in and around that structure, we may release one or two other videos. So particularly videos for HMS Fly, as we get a bit more deeper into the build of that, we will do some sort of short updates, which might be 10 or 15 minutes, and just show you what we've done this week. Whereas the main build videos tend to be somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour, because of waffle, but partly because I'm trying to explain clearly what we're doing, why we're doing it, what's the impact of doing it, and why we're not necessarily doing what the instructions say. So I'm trying to make it as clear as possible, because I know there's lots of people who are looking for that sort of fuller explanation of what to do, rather than just watching someone do it and not necessarily understanding why. And that's the sort of video I like to watch, so that's sort of my style, and I'm not going to change that. But when it gets to some of the longer tasks like planking and so on and so forth, it'd be handy just to check in once a week and go, right, this week we've put 12 planks on, and this is the issue I had, or whatever, and just do a short video. So those will pop out randomly, interspersed between the set designated days for a video release. So there'll always be little bits bubbling around, but that's how I imagine it's going to work at this moment in time. There's also other reasons that we might put a video out in between that time. So we are likely to have a video, if it doesn't happen in May, which I think is unlikely, but at some point in June, which will be a subscriber special. And I'm not going to say too much about it. At this time of recording, I don't see it going out before June. It's already recorded, it's sat there, it's ready. There's a subscriber special coming your way, and it'll be one of 2 subscriber special videos that will happen within 2 weeks of each other, and that'll get explained in the first video. But I don't know when that's coming out, because it's going to be triggered by hitting 1,000 subscribers. So when we hit 1,000 subscribers, like I said 2-3 roundups ago, we will do a little something. The video's ready to go, and then 2 weeks later there'll be another one. So that will have to happen regardless of the day at the moment it happens. So at the moment we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will upload a video. So within 2 or 3 hours of that happening, depending on what time that occurs, a video will go live. So if it's a Friday, it'll load up regardless of what else is going on, for example. So that's why we might do some extra stuff, but you've got those 3 set days. And what will happen in June is I'm going to focus on getting a little bit more ahead with my model builds, so that my build videos are also a couple of weeks ahead, so that I'm constantly building for the future rather than for immediate release. That way I can keep on top of things a little bit better, especially as we're coming up to holiday season. So end of May, we've got half-term holiday, so that got the kids running around for a week, and we will go out and do some day trips and bits and pieces like that. So again, that's less build time. So I just have to try and get a little bit ahead in June. So what will June look like then? Well, I know that we've definitely got one HMS Fly build video to come up. I've not edited it yet, but I've got enough material for another video. So there'll definitely be a Fly video, and potentially a first update short video as well, to do with deck planking. I want to focus on pushing on with the Arizona and Warspite. So they're going to be my key focus, but at the same time, I'd like to get the Anthony build finished and out of the way, because I don't know what's going to be coming out of the subscriber videos, which may happen in June. So I want to leave myself some free space there. and I want to try and get the Lysander build finished as well. And if we can't get it finished, we can certainly get it close to finished so that we can complete it in July. So that's the focus, and because I've not got the extra stuff to do like I've had in May with the 80th anniversary of the Hood and Bismarck, I've got a clearer run at things. I've got a little bit more modelling time coming up in June, so hopefully one way or another we can get another 2 builds finished in June and seriously push on with Warspite in Arizona. Now, builds going forward is going to have to change. I've always worked, for many, many years, I've worked on the principle of having 4 live builds. It means that if I'm getting fed up with one, I can focus on another. It means if I've got paint drying or stuff like that, I can flip onto something else, and I've always got something to do. And I try and have a little bit of variety. So if I'm just not feeling a model ship, I can do an aeroplane or a car or truck or whatever. So I've always worked on the principle of 4. What I'm finding is that is becoming a bit of a challenge whilst fitting in doing the necessary work for the channel as well. So I'm going to reduce down to 3 builds. And that's going to take a little bit of time to do because obviously we've got 5 builds running at the moment. So the HMS Fly is a long-term build, and I've said all along you're not necessarily going to see something every month on the Fly, partly because some of the processes take many, many hours. But what I tend to do is I tend to do some of the Fly model on a Friday while I'm watching videos or on live chat or whatever. I can put a plank down in between conversations. So I'm not sure how that is. So that's one of the builds that will continue to be live. What will happen is when Lysander is finished, we will replace that with another aircraft build because I like to have a bit of variety. When Anthony finishes, that just finishes. There isn't anything to replace that particularly. And then when Arizona and Warspite finish, it's going to depend on where we are and when they finish. But the intention is that we'll have just one ship build going forward, one aircraft build, and the HMS Fly build. So I like to have a smaller build, which will always be sort of the aircraft build will always be considered the smaller build. If I'm going to do a big build, like I'm going to do the Tsukimura 132 build, that would replace the big build, which generally always be a ship. So the way I'm looking at my builds going forward is we'll have one large or complex build project, one smaller to medium size, less complex build, and my wooden build. And those will be the 3 builds. And by having just 3 going, it means that I'll spend more time on those builds and they'll progress a bit faster. Because poor old Arizona is limping along in the background there, constantly getting gazumped, unfortunately, because of other activity. So my 4 build ideal doesn't fit with also having a channel to run. So we're going to drop it down to 3. Warspite and Arizona, whichever we finish first, one of those won't get replaced. So June is very much about sort of getting myself a bit more organised, I suppose, for the future. So when it comes to the first impressions videos that are going to be coming out in June, I actually had a couple of requests. So following on from my quick look at the stash, a couple of people requested a first impressions video, and I'll have a look in the box of a couple of the kits. So one of them was the old Airfix Great Western kit. So that first impressions video is recorded and will be going out at some point in June. And the other one was the Fujimi Yamashiro 1350 kit. which again is also recorded. I might have to add a little bit onto that. When I say it's recorded, they're filmed but haven't been edited yet. I might need to add a little bit to that because I've subsequently got a wooden deck for the Yamashiro recently, because there was one at a price I was prepared to pay. So we've got those two coming along, and we've got a seaplane coming along. I'm not going to say which one. I will leave you in suspense with that one. But we have a 172C seaplane coming along, and you may see some of these. So let's have a quick look, shall we? So we've got Trumpeters HMS Westminster. I've not looked at this, so I don't know how good it is. I quite like the sort of Cold War era warships. Obviously, this is sort of a little bit more modern than that, but yeah, it's quite a nice little subject, sort of in keeping with the Type 45 destroyer that we did. So we've got a 1/350 scale there. I don't have any aftermarket for that. I don't think I might have, but I've not looked in the box and double checked. I've had that kit quite a while, so we'll have a look at that and see what that looks like. I'm hoping it's better than the Type 45, which is a total dog of a kit, as you know. We will also be having a look at this Mirage Hobby Polish tank. So quite a little double turret tank. I like the unusual tanks. This one's a twin turret, but the intention is that this is going to ultimately be modelled as a tank captured by the Germans, and will be mounted on the trailer of that. So we'll do a first impressions video of that, which may well be in June or might just pop into July. I'm not sure at this stage. So the FAMO kit, this came out hot on the heels of the Dragon wagon tank transporter they did, which I built when it first came out, which is a beautiful kit. And then this came out and for me blew the Dragon wagon out of the water. It's a huge kit. I have built it once before, and I loved it so much. I very rarely do this, but I bought the same kit again. Last time I did it in the yellows and the camouflage, but this time I'm going to do it in the blues, because I'm going to do an early war version, and it'll be part of the diorama. But we'll have a look at the kit, and I've got lots of aftermarket in there to look at. I've got etch and resin and decals and all sorts in there. So we'll have a good look in that. That's a big kit, so be prepared for a big long video on that one. Also going to do some smaller first impressions videos. Got some figures to look at. So I've never done a first impressions video on figures. So we'll see how that goes and see how interested people are in that. But got quite a lot of figure boxes to go through, and it occurs to me that we focus on the big stuff, and then you're not really sure when you're buying these box of figures how good they are. So as I've got quite a number of figure boxes, we will do some of those over time. So that's possibly coming in June. Following on from the Prince of Wales Flyhawk, and if you watch that video, you'll have heard me make the comment that there wasn't much photo etching. I mean, there was a lot of parts, but there wasn't much photo etching there. We'll also do a first impressions video of Trumpeter's Scharnhorst, and with it, the aftermarket kit, which was considerably more expensive than the actual kit. And just to whet your appetite, this has a little bit more etch. 1/700 scale. So be prepared for another bonkers Flyhawk video. And finally, in June I will be recording this first impressions video, which is a BMW motorbike with sidecar, 1/35 scale. and you can do that as either a military or civilian version. Looks really nice in the civilian shiny black there. So yeah, we'll be recording all of these in June, not necessarily releasing them all in June. I have some others that are already recorded, and I want to do the two requested first impressions videos in short order. That's sort of what's coming along in terms of first impressions. So before I start talking about what else I've been watching across YouTube and what I think my viewers might be interested in going to see, and we wrap the review up for May, I just wanted to talk very briefly about this model. So anyone who's been watching the fly videos, the unboxing or the first build part, I've mentioned this particular model a couple of times. So this model is of the HM schooner Pickle, which is probably the most famous ship that nobody has ever really heard of. And the reason that this is a very famous ship is this is the ship that carried the news from the Battle of Trafalgar of the victory and also the death of Nelson back to the British government and the Crown. And the reason why Pickle was chosen to take that news to the UK was she was the fastest ship in the fleet, and that was to do with her hull design, a sweeping hull design, which meant she could move quite quickly, and she was quite light, and so she was given that. Actually, it turned out to be a little bit of a race. There was one or two other people who wanted to be the person to bring that news, and if you Google Collingwood dispatches, news of Nelson's death, you'll come across the story, and it's actually quite intriguing. There's the sea race, and then there's a race against land to get to London and deliver the news, and it's quite interesting. This particular kit is a Caldercraft kit, and for me, Caldercraft are the very best ship model builders. Now, one of the viewers has said that they think they might have stopped trading. I'm not sure of that. You can certainly still buy their kits, although we haven't seen an update on the website for quite some time. And we were expecting a release of HMS Surprise, which we're looking forward to because the ones that are out are not the best. But that hasn't happened. So whether that's just a COVID thing or whether they have gone out of business, I don't know. But Caldercraft are the very best model kits, and if you've never built a wooden model ship before, then this is the one that I keep recommending. And the reason why I recommend it is, firstly, their instructions are very, very clear. They have all the plans, like Fly, and they have a step-by-step walkthrough commentary of what to do, and they are the clearest of the professional wooden ship model manufacturers. They're the clearest instructions you can get, just because they take you through it in detail. The other thing about Caldercraft is they don't laser cut, they CNC cut everything. So when you get your kit, you get all these wooden parts and quite a lot of sawdust as well. So just be mindful of that. But because they CNC everything, you don't have as much cleanup. You don't have scorched parts and laser scorching to clean up. But you tend to find that they have better fit. They use top quality materials. And if you were spending a couple of hours a night every night, this would take you about 6 months to build, roughly. And everything you see here came in the kit. You don't have to buy any extras. You get the copper tiles and the brass cannons and everything. There's no upgrades or changes. It is exactly as it was, and the model is based on the original Admiralty drawings, so we know that it's accurate, and this is exactly how Pickle looked, give or take me putting some of the rigging ropes possibly tied in the wrong location or something, don't know. But yeah, it's a good starter kit, around about £120 maybe. Currently, I think this was £80 when I bought it 3 or 4 years ago. But it's a really good first build, and if you've never built a wooden model ship before, but you've got some modelling experience, you would find that not difficult. They explain how to do the knots. They take everything step by step. It's clearly laid out in a logical way. It's a good first model kit. Okay, so finally, let's talk about what I've been watching across YouTube. So just like you, I like watching people building models on YouTube. Um, and I come across some new channels this month, and wanted to share some of those and some channels I've been watching for a while where I think there's something that people should go and see if they've maybe not. So let's start with Gavin Booth, his channel. He's got quite a wide selection of videos there covering all sorts of different topics, but he does a lot of figure painting, and he's just done a 1/10 scale bust called The Few, which is basically a Spitfire pilot with a dog on his shoulder, which I saw came out maybe 18 months, 2 years ago-ish, I think. Saw that being released. He's done one, and the painting on it is absolutely superb. It's a thing of beauty. He's done an outstanding job on it. It's definitely worth going over and having a look at that. Like me, he says he's not the best modeler in the world, but boy, he produces some really good stuff when it comes to painting. He knows his stuff. So definitely worth going to see that. The other channel that I've been enjoying catching up on is Steve Jones's scale modelling site. He's just finished T34, and the weathering on it is really lovely. I don't remember if I've mentioned this before, but if I had, he was part way through that build process. He's now absolutely finished that, and it looks wonderful. So he doesn't put videos out with a lot of frequency, but when he does, he puts out some real quality. So it's worth going and having a look at those. Okay, Jim Stein. So I've been following he's building the 1200 hood, and I've been following that for some time. But he also has a Facebook page, and I just wanted to mention the Facebook page. I've largely stopped contributing to forums and Facebook page forums, just because. We won't necessarily go there, but Jim Stein has one called Plastic Model Ships 1200, and it's a nice little friendly group. It's almost exclusively 1200 scale ships, although there are one or two other posts on other scales on there. I'm on there. One or two other people that I know or know of are on there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of asking questions and sharing build progress and the usual sort of stuff. But if you're interested in 1200 ships and you build 1200 ships, it's worth bobbing along and having a look at that. But there are people joining that all the time. It's not got massively too big and too worldly, and I haven't seen any problems with contributors. That it's all nice and cheerful and positive. So it's quite a nice little spot to go and look at. Brett G. So I've mentioned Brett's channel before. He's been working on Tamiya's Fairy Swordfish, the 148 scale one. I built that kit, and it's a lovely kit. It's a really nice kit, and it's interesting to see he's tackling it slightly different than I did when it first came out. But he's doing a lovely job of it, and he's getting to the point where he's about to be putting etch guidelines on, and I'm interested to see his process for that. So I'm avidly watching that. I watch it and then I think, right, when's the next one coming out? So if you've not seen Brett G's channel before, it's worth checking out and going and having a look. He also, interestingly, did a sort of a live chat video with another modeler, and they were talking about a particular topic. Now, I didn't see it live, I caught up with it afterwards, but it was quite interesting format, and it's the sort of thing you can have playing while you're doing something else and listen along to and sharing their thoughts. Yeah. So another channel that's worth popping along to if you've not seen it is Aussie Frenchman. So I've been following, he's doing a 1350 Yamato, I'm guessing it's one of the 3 Tamiya kits. I've been watching his build of that, and then he's suddenly introduced a build, it's either for his brother-in-law, I can't quite remember, and he's doing an Australian version of an American armoured car, which is recreating the one that his brother or brother-in-law was actually in. So it's a bit of a labour of love build, and I like watching someone build a model when it's got some actual relevance to the modeler. So that's going to be a little diorama. It's been really interesting seeing the thought process around that and talking about, well, you know, actually this needs to be a bit more scratched and this is why, and so on. So it's quite interesting to watch. So Aussie Frenchman, definitely go and check out what's going on there. And then finally I have 2 channels which are sort of very new modelling channels and very different to each other. So the first one I'm going to mention is called Wood, Brass and Glue, and that it's an Australian guy building a wooden model ship. I think he's building the Scottish Made, which is an Artisanal Latina kit. So it's an Italian kit. They're not particularly great kits. They use a lot of generic stock parts, so they're not very accurate kits. What they do have, though, is very good, clear instructions. And the format of the instructions is very clear. They don't explain things step by step, but they're good, clear pictures, and you can build the model quite well from the instructions. And and so much so that a lot of the part work companies use their kits for their models, which is why, you know, Model Space, for example, use a number of their kits. So the Model Space Kutisaki is an Artisanal Latina. I think the Victory is. But what happens with a part work is they dumb down the kit to make it as cheap as possible, and maybe take some of the stuff out that you get if you bought the kit somewhere else, and then you buy it weekly with a subscription. And it looks like a cheap way of or an affordable way of buying an expensive kit, but what actually you're doing is you're paying over the price for a dumbed down version of the kit with poorer materials. It'd be better just to save your money up each month until you've got enough to buy the proper kit. So don't buy the Model Space Kutisaki, go and buy the Artisanal Latina Kutisaki. You'll find it's either the same kit cheaper, or it's an improved version of the kit that you get on Model Space. The thing about Partworks is you have good instructions, so if you've never built them before, you get better instructions, and sometimes you get freebies, tools and bits and pieces, but they're rubbish, they're cheap, so, you know, it's all a ploy. It's about selling magazines ultimately, not about selling models. So anyway, I digress again, but he's building the Scottish Made and he's doing a really nice job of it. He's just finding his feet on his channel. He's got a handful of subscribers and he's just working out what works and what doesn't, but he clearly knows his stuff. And I'm just watching that to see how it develops. It's quite interesting, so it's worth bobbing along if you're interested in wooden shipbuilding. And then finally, but absolutely not least, is Simon's Journey to Scale Modelling Greatness. And the title really accurately depicts it. This is a guy who's just started a YouTube channel, and I know how that feels, and he's just starting his journey into modelling. He's building the Yamato, so he decided to start big. And it's interesting to see how he works through it. He's done some other models as well, I believe, but he's currently building the Yamato, and it's a sort of the model ship meets Oz-scale modelling. It's a combination of model building and other stuff, and you know, the model building journey is not the only journey he's going on, clearly. I quite like it. I guess it's not for everybody, but if you're interested in watching someone sort of getting his head around building models and don't mind a bit of digression to talk about giraffes, grandfather's table, and how he's feeling today, and what he's having for his tea and that sort of stuff. I find it quite interesting. I like that sort of stuff, but it's not for everybody. It's not a very it's not a serious model channel. It's a serious channel about building a model and life. So I'm really enjoying it. He's putting a couple of videos out a week at the moment. He's also got a cooking channel, but we're talking modelling here. So yeah, check that out. That's Simon's Journey to Scale Modelling Greatness. As ever, if you've never visited those channels before and you do, and you decide that you're going to subscribe and keep up with them, please drop a note in one of the videos saying that you've been recommended by Model Kit stuff to come along. It just helps the YouTube channel understand where subscribers are coming from, and so on and so forth, because we do get analytics from YouTube, but sometimes you look at it and say, well, that makes no sense. So it's helpful for the channel if you just say, hi, I'm just subscribing, and you were given a shout out, because many of these channels probably don't watch what I do, so won't be aware that we've had this conversation about them. I think that's probably enough waffle from me for May. Let's round it all up and say that's May in the bag. The one last thing I'm going to say is that I've always put these videos out around about week 3 in the month. That's because the first one I did was week 3 in the month. And I've sort of done them every month from that point. We're going to change that. It makes more sense to round up at the end of the month rather than 3/4 of the way through. So in June, the roundup will be in the last week of the month. I don't know what day. I'll keep you guessing, and me. All right, thanks for looking in. That gives you a brief view of what's happening on the channel in May and June ahead. And yeah, I think that's us done. So thanks for looking in. Take care, everyone, and I will see you soon.